Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to take you with me to test out the Puma evoTOUCH Pros for the very first time. Now, this is going to be a vlog style video. I made one of these before. It was taking you guys with me to test out the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11. If you missed that video and you want to check it out, there'll be a little pop-up on screen. But because of the popularity of that video, you guys asked for more. This is, like I said, my second go at kind of a vlog style boot testing video, if you want to call it that. Now, unlike the Vapor 11, where that had been probably the 10th or 11th time that I wore that shoe, you guys are going to see my very first time wearing the Puma evoTOUCH Pro, which is a shoe that I'm personally very optimistic about. Now, I made a video on this shoe that went up on the channel, kind of a detailed overview, if you will, kind of my usual thing. Again, if you missed that video, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen. You can go ahead and watch that. And if you haven't seen that video prior to watching this one, I would recommend checking it out just because it goes over all the tech specs that are really important to know, because this is a very unique design from Puma. The shoe itself has a retail price of $275, so it is quite a bit expensive, but it is kind of competing with all of the very expensive models that are super popular at the moment on offer from Nike and Adidas, also featuring different cuts and knitted material, which is kind of the first time that we're seeing those two elements from Puma here in the form of the evoTOUCH Pro. So really curious to try them out. I'm very optimistic of this shoe. I think the elements that it combines is something that I'm really going to like, but as always, until you actually try it for yourself, it's really difficult to say whether or not the shoe is, like I said, going to live up to my expectations. Before I leave for the field and actually get a chance to try these out, I wanted to address a couple of frequently asked questions in regards to this particular shoe that you guys asked in the comment section of my review video or overview video. The first being, how much is the leather going to stretch? There doesn't seem to be a lot of reinforcement. Obviously no stitching on the kangaroo leather upper. You do have an internal liner. You do have the EvoKnit sock lining as well. But for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward thin leather upper that's pretty soft as well. So people are concerned with it overstretching. I'm not too concerned with it, but again, until I actually try them out and get some decent time in them, I can't really comment on how much they are going to stretch. We'll learn a little bit more about them today, of course. But out of the box, initially with pretty much any shoe, it's really difficult to predict something like that. The other thing that a lot of people ask me about is the fact that it's been implied that you can wear this shoe barefoot with no socks at all, and it does have kind of a unique internal one-piece sock-like liner with these little Grip-Tex arrows that kind of help to grip your foot or a sock, obviously. And my response to that is I think that's something that was perhaps a little bit miscommunicated by Puma or perhaps other people in regards to more so that they wanted to make a shoe that had the sensation of being as comfortable as it could possibly be to where you could wear it barefoot, but not necessarily that they recommend wearing them barefoot. And really my response to wearing these barefoot is I'm not going to do it, just because it's not something you should do in any shoe. And whether or not it's implied that you could or couldn't wear these barefoot, you technically could wear most shoes with no socks. Why would you want to? I'm not really sure. If you're going to be playing, wear socks. It's going to be more comfortable. It's going to dramatically reduce your chance of getting blisters, and obviously when you play in a game, you're going to have to wear socks anyway. So wearing them without socks, probably not a good idea, not to mention how that would make the shoes smell in the long run if you always wore them completely barefoot. Just like I said, not a good idea in my opinion. And the other thing that I'm a little bit kind of intrigued about in regards to this particular shoe is the no insole thing. So I'm not going to be wearing these with an insole in today's video. I'm just going to go to the field, no insole, wear them as they kind of come out of the box. They do include the extra set of insoles, which I don't necessarily think I'm going to need. I think they include the extra set of insoles mainly if you're playing on particularly hard ground or you just want that little bit of extra underfoot cushioning. But for the most part, there is some built-in padding down there. They felt comfortable when I tried them on in my office here, so I don't anticipate having any issues in regards to stud pressure or just discomfort because of this one-piece internal design. But again, until I try them out, it's really difficult to say. So here's a look at some of the stuff that I'm actually taking with me, or all the stuff I'm taking with me to test out these new evoTOUCH Pros. Obviously, I'm going to bring the shoes themselves, which I put in some, for those that care, some black and neon yellow grid pattern SR4U laces, which I think look really, really good on this particular shoe in this colorway. I'm also taking a pair of Nike Tiempo Legend 6s. Now, this is a pair that I've been wearing pretty much since the launch. It's kind of my backup pair that I almost always bring with me when I'm testing out new stuff. If I am playing and I just want to continue playing, but I'm wearing new shoes that perhaps start to feel a little bit uncomfortable for me, just because I am breaking them in, I always like to bring a pair of backup shoes that I know 100% I can put on, be totally comfortable, and not have any issues with. So that for me is the Nike Tiempo Legend 6. It is my personal favorite shoe, and given that this is a kangaroo leather shoe, the evoTOUCH Pro, I figured that if I really wanted to, I could compare it to the Legend 6 as well, which I think is probably one of the best modern leather soccer cleats currently out there at the moment. So makes a lot of sense to bring those with me today, which is why I'm taking them. I'm bringing 2 soccer balls. That's all I'm really going to need. Again, with a new pair of shoes, you don't want to be doing too much as far as shooting is concerned, so there's really no reason for me to bring 10 or 12 soccer balls, but I'm bringing a Champions League ball as well as a Bundesliga Bazooka variation. So these are both Adidas top-end match balls, just kind of the 2 variations that they have. They both perform very differently, but they're both very good soccer balls, and really the specific ball that I'm bringing doesn't matter all that much. It's just kind of what I have on hand, easy access, and these are the ones that I had in my bag from last time, so just going to stick with those. And then I'm bringing just a Nike hand pump that I have. It's always good to have a pump in your bag just for the sake of having proper air pressure in your ball. And then this little backpack that I have right here. It's an Adidas team backpack. It's a soccer specific one in that it does have the little ball pouch here on the front, which is kind of the main reason why I use it. I can put a ball in here, ball inside, 2 pairs of shoes, and the pump, not have any issues at all. And that's basically what I take to the field with me on a regular basis when I'm just planning on testing out a pair of shoes for the first, second, third time, just because, again, not going to be doing anything too crazy. It's going to be more of a light training session just to kind of get a feel for the shoes and break them in properly. But this is, like I said, what I would normally bring with me to test out a new pair of shoes. Alright guys, so I made it to the field. This is not the same one I was at last time, just because I don't think I'm going to get kicked off here, but only time will tell. I figured you guys would probably want to see this though, because it may not be a normal thing depending on where you live, but the field is full of seagulls. I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see. I'm not sure why there's so many seagulls, but they're all over the place. I'm not sure if it's actually picking up on camera all that well, but there are tons and tons of seagulls. Let me try to zoom. I guess I don't have that much zoom, but they're all there. And also, another thing worth noting, you see that now over there, that is the famous "someone tried to steal my soccer ball" video. That's where that happened. That's where someone actually tried to steal my soccer ball. If you guys didn't see that video and perhaps are interested, there'll be a little pop-up on screen. Go ahead and check it out. It's kind of a funny story. Really the only time that's ever happened to me, but nonetheless, tons of seagulls here. Not sure why. They'll get out of the way as soon as I start running on the field, but I don't know. No explanation as to why they are here. Alright guys, well I am all done here. It's been about hour and a half, hour 45 minutes or so. And I have to say I've been impressed with this new evoTOUCH boot from Puma. It's comfortable. I really didn't have any issues at all. Just kind of like minor foot cramping through the midfoot, but that's fairly normal for me in any brand new pair of shoes when I wear them for the first time. So for the most part, no rubbing, no blistering. The heel lockdown was very, very good given that it does have somewhat of a unique heel system. The lack of insole, didn't really have any issues with it. The field was kind of nice today. Like I said earlier, I think if you are on harder ground, using that insole they do include is probably recommended just for the sake of being as comfortable as possible. But if you're on a nicer field, wearing them without the insole like I did today, you're probably not going to have any issues. The stud pattern is kind of what we've been seeing from the EvoSpeed line, so nothing too crazy, but it gets the job done. The sole plate's nice and flexible. The upper doesn't really require much in the way of break-in time, and it's a comfortable shoe in general. That's kind of what I have to say right now. I'm gonna go home, back to the office, and kind of reflect on what I just experienced, and we'll talk a little bit more about the evoTOUCH Pro. So we're back, and I've had a little bit of time to really think about what the evoTOUCH actually is, what it's supposed to represent, and despite how it looks, and it looks a lot like the EvoSpeed line, which is why I think people have certain expectations that I don't think that this shoe was designed to meet that particular standard. It has the speed boot aesthetic, but doesn't necessarily have the speed boot feel 100%, if that makes any sense. What I really like about this shoe is just about everything. I think the one negative is also a positive, if that makes any sense. And what I'm talking about is the combination of the kangaroo leather and the evoTOUCH internal sock, or the evoKnit internal sock, sorry. The leather quality, it's very good, it's very soft, nice and flexible, gives you that soft leather-like touch. The finish on the surface is pretty standard, so it has a fairly smooth, almost slick sensation that you would expect from, like I said, a more traditional leather shoe. You have a microfiber liner underneath that. Then you have your evoKnit sock. Now the evoKnit sock feels very comfortable on your foot. It moves naturally with your foot. It doesn't restrict the flexibility of the leather. So from a comfort standpoint, it's a really, really positive aspect of the new evoTOUCH. What I don't like about these two elements combined is the fact that there are two layers of material between your foot and the ball. And this is not detrimental to the touch, but it does take away from the leather sensation that would otherwise be very, very pure and perhaps a little bit thinner on this particular shoe. So because you have two layers of material all the way throughout, the soft leather and then the padded evoKnit liner, there's not necessarily a lack of feel, but a lot of the feel on the ball in terms of actually having the sensation of feeling the ball in general on your foot is taken away to a certain extent. It does feel a little bit weird for the first 10-15 minutes, but you do very quickly get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's not an issue whatsoever. But if you're comparing it to something like, for example, a Nike Tiempo Legend 6 that has a leather upper, it has a reinforced liner material with that skeleton support cage, and just a standard kind of nylon liner, you do get a more kind of true leather experience, if that makes any sense. This has a really thin leather and then a really thin evoKnit sock that combines for a shoe that has a touch on the ball that doesn't feel really, really thin, which I was kind of surprised about, but still is very, very good. It just takes some getting used to. The collar area, being that it is kind of mid-cut, if you want to call it that, it doesn't feel abnormal at all for the most part. For lack of better words to describe what I think about these, they feel pretty much normal in the heel and ankle area. They don't feel any different from a standard low-cut shoe, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. So like I said, the break-in process and just from a first time wearing them, no real major discomfort issues with the shoe. It fits really nicely as far as the overstretching aspect is concerned. Again, I think a lot of people, just because it looks like an evoSpeed, automatically assume it's going to have that super tight, super secure fit, and that's really not what they were going for. If you want that super snug, super secure fit, take a look at the evoSpeed line. Consider something like a Mercurial Vapor, because like I said, this is not that. It doesn't have that super, super tight fit on your foot. It's more along the lines of a traditional leather type shoe that does have a little bit more generous width to it, and it's just kind of a soft, comfortable fit that obviously fits your foot nicely. It's got a snug fit, but it's not squeezing your foot, which is generally what you get from a shoe that has really, really good lockdown and is supposed to be as responsive as possible. This I didn't have any issues with thus far, but if you're looking for, like I said, that kind of super lockdown responsive feel, maybe this isn't for you. This is kind of more along the lines of a traditional feel in terms of other leather shoes to compare it to, but obviously it doesn't have that traditional look. So that's kind of where I think this shoe will confuse a few people, but overall the package is very, very good and I'm excited to continue wearing them. Is it my new personal favorite? I'm hesitant to say that at the moment, but if I had to make a top 5 list at the moment in terms of new releases and new shoes that are out right now that you can buy that I really, really like, this would probably be in my top 5. They're comfortable, the touch is nice, I like the fact that it's kangaroo leather, the sole plate's very flexible, the stud pattern works good, and I think it's a good looking shoe in general. So overall, I'm very, very happy with the evoTOUCH Pro thus far. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed my boot review vlog of the evoTOUCH Pro from Puma. Let me know what you guys think of this down below in the comment section. Are you a fan of the new evoTOUCH line? What do you like? What do you dislike about it? And let me know what you guys think of these vlog style videos. I know the first one was received very well. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I changed a couple of things. Hopefully the audio quality is a little bit better. I sorted some things out with the microphone, so the wind noise when I'm outdoors shouldn't be quite as bad, but I guess we'll see when the video actually is done and complete. But let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you'd like to see more regularly on the channel? If so, leave a comment, let me know. Your feedback is very much appreciated. And of course, if you have any questions at all regarding the evoTOUCH Pro, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching. They're getting way too close. Look how ridiculous this is. Look at all those chickens.